Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com. And for this Reseller Friday, I want to talk to you about, are you a focused reseller or a distracted one? This is something that applies to any business, but it especially applies to reselling, importantly because so often in reselling, people are alone. In a regular job where you go work for somebody else, you have someone telling you to not do something or to do something. You may have lists given to you of what you need to do that day, the calls you need to make, or whatever it may be. You have things laid out for you, and it really gives you a focus. But when you're a reseller and you're working for yourself in most cases, you don't have someone there to manage you, someone there to make you do the things you need to do, someone there to give you the priorities for the day. And if you don't do that for yourself, which many people do not, it causes them to be distracted. It's easy to scroll social media when you're working from your house, or maybe take a nap. Maybe go do something, go play with the kids. All these things that you can even justify them and make them sound good, but they are distracting you from your business. They're not even making you be more effective in those other areas or whatever you're doing. Like, I'm going to spend time with my family. I still remember when I was a early 20s, like maybe 20 years old, 19, 20, somewhere in that range, and I cleaned houses. It was one of the first jobs I could find when I moved into this new, I say new, it was an old mobile home, very broke down, holes in the floor, and I had no money. And I looked in the paper and there was this job. I thought, I don't know anything about cleaning houses, but I can probably do it. And one of the jobs was this one house. These were all like regular people's houses, consumer houses. It wasn't commercial cleaning or anything like that. So we weren't cleaning buildings, we just cleaned individual people's houses. And basically you would go there for the day for an entire 8-hour shift and clean the house. And the houses were generally very large. Some were a little bit smaller compared to some of the big, large multi-million-dollar mansions. And the multi-million-dollar mansions were the easiest, even though they were massive, because they were like museums. You go in there and there would be you just wipe some dust off. The carpets were exactly the way you left them, with the little triangle shapes in them. Nothing had been touched in many cases. And so I was in this one house one day, my first time being there, and I was going to go in this one room. It was a large house, but kind of in the middle of the house was a room. It's kind of an odd thing. Like, the house kind of went like a square around this one room in the middle. This was where the husband of the house worked, and he worked at home in that room. It was a fairly large room, but I remember I was going to go in there and clean, and one of the kids said, "No, don't go in there, Daddy's working." Oh, okay. And the housekeeper came over and confirmed that and said, yeah, he can't be bothered when he's working. You don't need to clean in there. And it was interesting. The kids understood and respected that boundary. They knew Dad needed his time in there. He was working. That's why they had this nice house. That's why they had a housekeeper. That's why they had to take care of the children. That's why they had this great life, because Daddy was working and he was doing his work. And during this time of day, he was at work, and the kids respected that and treated. If that dad went out of that room when he's supposed to be working to play with his kids, although you could say, well, he should be playing with his kids, it would have taught them something terrible. That you can just flake on things and not be responsible, not do what you say you're going to do, not be consistent. And the thing was, when he went for lunch, because he treated it like a real job, which is what most resellers don't do. That's how they get so distracted. They don't treat their reselling business like a real business. They don't have any hours they keep. It's just random. They don't have any set goals for the day. They don't have anything written down about what they need to get done. It's just scattered, distracted, unfocused, minimal effort to get by. And so this man, for lunch, he came out of that room. He ate with his kids. He played with them. And then, I don't remember the exact amount of time. I think it was about an hour. On the dot, he went back in that room and worked. And the kids didn't bother him. They weren't feeling neglected. They knew Daddy was at work. They respected that. Their dad wasn't neglecting them. And then at the end of the day, he came out and was playing and doing all kinds of things with them because his work day was over. You need to set aside that focused time. You're not distracted. If you have kids in the house, you need to tell them, Daddy's working, Mommy's working. You can't distract me during this time. This is how we make money. This is how we earn a living and provide for you and make the world a better place. But you'll never get people to comply with that, including your kids, if you're not consistent. Years ago, I would have friends, when I first started doing reselling, they would have a day off. And so then they would call me and say, hey, let's go so-and-so, let's go this place, let's go that place. Like, you don't understand, I'm working. Yeah, but you work for yourself, you can take off whenever you want. Like, no, I can't. Because I work for myself, I have more obligation to not take off whenever I want. I have people depending on me. If I take off, I'm not setting the example for my employees. Things might go down, and it could harm them in the long run. I have to be consistent in my endeavors. And I was in my early 20s, and I just knew this inherently, that that was not a way to run my life. And eventually people figured out, like, Ryan's at work, you can't bother him during this time. And it wasn't because I didn't want to do those things. It wasn't because I didn't want to go out and have fun and not be in my business at the time. It was because I treated this with respect and honor. And from early on during that time till now, it was because I wanted to do things to bring glory to God. I wanted my business to reflect a knowledge of Him, to reflect somebody who knows Him and walks with Him and gets results like someone who actually knows God. How can you have pathetic results and pitiful, terrible results, but say, yes, I know God? You want to know about Jesus? Well, why would anybody want to when they see your life? It's in shambles. Your reselling business is very important. It's your business. It's not to be treated like a hobby. It's not to be treated like a job. Stop calling it a job. Stop calling it a hobby. It's neither of those things. It is your business. It is for you to run like a real business and treat it like a real business. There are people who go and work a job somewhere and they treat that like a real business, but then they come to do their reselling business and they treat it like some hobby, like something that doesn't matter, something that they can flake out on, they can be lazy in, they can do minimal effort, they can not do more than they did the day before, they can just be mediocre, and that's somehow all right, and it's not. You must be focused, highly focused in your business. You can't be distracted. You can't be allowing nonsense to come in and wreck your reselling business. You know, each year, online selling and reselling in particular are going up. There are more and more sellers doing extremely well, and there are more and more sellers doing extremely poorly and dropping out of the reselling business. The reason for that disparity is because those people who are doing extremely well are consistent, they're focused, they're not distracted, and they're running a real business. And the reason those people are dropping out in many cases is because they are distracted, they are completely unfocused, they are lazy in many cases, and they are not treating it like a business. They're treating it more like a hobby or just some job, but some job they don't care about. And if you do that, you will not get the best results. And reselling business, as I've said so many times, is one of the easiest businesses you can get in. Yes, as you scale up, it becomes more and more difficult, like any business does, but it also becomes easier because you start bringing in employees. They start taking over this workload from you. That piece of work somebody else takes over, and you actually start doing less. There's more to manage, but actually your work in the business actually becomes less and less. So it actually becomes easy even as you scale up. But it's not a difficult business. The cost is super low. You could just find stuff around your house and list it. You don't have to pay anything up front. The listing's free until you get a sale. Or even if you have a fee, but it's billed later, no big deal. There are so few barriers to entry in reselling, and it is so easy to get up and running, but you have to treat it like a business. If you have that job mentality, if you have that hobby mentality, it's going to be hard for you. Every single day it's going to be hard for you because you don't want to do it, because you're not treating it with respect. You know, it's interesting, most people don't even look at it as something that is a blessing of God. They look at it as well, I like it, it's good, it's better than working for somebody else, but they don't treat it like they really care and respect it and appreciate the blessing God's given them in the reselling business they have. And that is proven by their lack of results. That is proven by their lack of effort. That is proven by the fact they allow themselves to get so easily distracted when there is work to be done. They have death piles piling up. They have work not being done. They have excuses for why they didn't list today, why they didn't list the day before, why they haven't listed in a week even, or why they're going to put off shipping an order out. They could have shipped out today, but they're going to wait another day. My friend, don't allow yourself to get distracted. Keep yourself focused. Treat your business like a real business, because it is, and watch as you become a great success. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.